Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, here to give you my top 5 teams most likely to draft Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence in the 2021 NFL Draft. Trevor Lawrence is expected to be the number 1 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. I think he probably will be. Now, I think he certainly will be quarterback number 1, but you never know, right? If a team that gets to the top of the draft, like let's say the Cincinnati Bengals, because I still don't believe the Bengals are going to be very good next season. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to solve enough of their problems. Maybe they stay at number 1 instead of trading down and take like a defensive end or an offensive tackle or something. I mean, we've seen it before, so we can see it again. We saw it in 2017 with Myles Garrett, whatever draft the Myles Garrett draft was, right? So it can happen. But for all intents and purposes, we expect Trevor Lawrence to go number 1 overall, and I do certainly believe he will be quarterback 1. I know a lot of people like Justin Fields, the quarterback out of Ohio State. And there's a lot of reasons to like Justin Fields. He reminds me a lot of Kyler Murray, who's been having success in the NFL. He reminds me a little bit of Deshaun Watson as well. But Trevor Lawrence is that prototypical pro-style quarterback. This guy has been bred and groomed for years and years and years. He's already been battle-tested. I mean, come on, people. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in terms of a pro prospect coming out of next year's draft. And that's not to say that Justin Fields may not be better than him at the next level. That's certainly possible. But these NFL teams, I mean, come on. Think about how NFL teams think. Think about how NFL teams work. They're going to take Trevor Lawrence number 1. So, who are the top 5 teams most likely to take Trevor Lawrence? Now, I have some honorable mentions that I want to mention first. Okay, first we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Almost said Oakland, I caught myself. The Las Vegas Raiders, and I don't have them in the top 5. A lot of people probably will, but they have not only Derek Carr, but they also have Marcus Mariota now. And in order for them to draft Trevor Lawrence number 1 overall, first of all, they're going to have to be a bad team again, and I honestly think that's going to happen. I had them winning, honestly, less than 7-8 games this upcoming season. But then number 2, they need both Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota to show no promise, right? Derek Carr has to have one of his worst years, if not his worst year yet. And then Mariota, whenever Carr sucks, whenever Mariota goes in, he's also going to have to struggle for the Raiders to say, okay, no more Carr and Mariota, let's get Trevor Lawrence. I'm not sure if I see both of those happening. I can see Carr struggling and Mariota coming in, and then Mariota doing well enough to give the Raiders one more year with him before they went down the road of drafting a new quarterback. So that's what I would see more likely there. Carolina Panthers. I know they just signed Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater's not that good. Okay, that's the thing. You know, there's a reason why the Minnesota Vikings moved on from him. There's a reason why the New York Jets moved on from him. There's a reason why the New Orleans Saints moved on from him. Everyone keeps moving on from Teddy Bridgewater. He's nothing more than a game manager at best, and they're only paying him $20 million a year. They could easily draft Trevor Lawrence if their team is not good next year, and I'm not sure where the Panthers are going to be next year because they have a lot of young talent on defense. How that talent come together offensively, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, new system. They could struggle next year, be in a position to take Trevor Lawrence, and they might pull the trigger there. And the New York Jets is possible to me. Now, Sam Darnold has not been bad, but he also has not been particularly good yet. If he struggles mightily and they clean house again in New York, they do this time and time and time again, he could be susceptible to being traded or released, probably traded, and they could go down the Trevor Lawrence route. Again, I would doubt this would happen, but it's something we need to consider. I also consider the Giants too as a possibility for that as well. Now, with that said, let's get into the top 5, and let's start with number 5. And number 5 is the Washington Redskins. Yet again, a team that, yes, has a young quarterback right now in Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins isn't very good. In fact, right now, he's bad. Okay, he's probably the worst starting quarterback in the league. To be honest with you, maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick is worse than him, but honestly, Fitzpatrick's better. I mean, to be honest with you right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick's better. Dwayne Haskins is the worst starting quarterback in the league right now. With 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions last season, under a 60% completion percentage. His completion percentage came out at 58.6, a passer rating of 76.1. It was not impressive for Dwayne Haskins. Now, he was a rookie, and he showed a lot of promise, particularly in his last 2 games. So there's still a lot to like here. But if we get same production out of Dwayne Haskins and the Redskins are picking number 1 overall, Well, you don't think they're going to pull a Josh Rosen and trade Dwayne Haskins? Oh, you could absolutely see that. Now, I don't think they're going to get much value for Dwayne Haskins, to be quite honest with you. I think we're looking at, I hate to compare him to this guy, maybe an EJ Manuel situation here, where you're just like, yeah, you drafted this guy and everyone's watched and seen, well, he's not really worth much. No one's really going to trade much for him. Hopefully he's better than this. I think they've put enough talent around him to where they won't have to go down this road. But I'm looking out for this possibility because I think this Redskins defense is going to be decent under Ron Rivera, but I have big concerns about the offense, and we'll see how that side goes. So right now, number 5 is the Washington Redskins. Number 4, the Detroit Lions. It just seems as if the end of the road is coming for Matthew Stafford in Detroit, and he's still pretty good to me. But now he had a big injury last year, a back injury. How will he come back from that? We're not sure. I don't think the Lions are going to be very good this season. I know I had them winning the NFC North before last season. I'm the clown. But I don't think they're going to be very good this upcoming season. And look, they do have a lot of, young, interesting talent offensively. They just drafted the running back out of Ohio State. What's his name again? Oh, did they? No, they drafted DeAndre Swift, actually, I want to say. Yeah, the Ravens got J.K. Dobbins, but the Lions got DeAndre Swift. And, they want to get Kerryon Johnson back healthy. And Kenny Galladay's been proving himself in the receiving corps. But I don't know, something in this Matt Patricia era, something's not working, something's not clicking, it's just not working out. The previous era with Jim Caldwell has been much better than this one. The Lions will likely be picking at the top of the draft again, and if they're picking at the top of the draft again, you have to feel like they just move on from Matthew Stafford. And someone will come calling, okay? I think plenty of teams will come calling. I think the Patriots would. I think some other teams potentially would, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you just have that feeling if the Lions are at the top of the draft, they'd move on, they'd take Trevor Lawrence if they could. So number 4, the Detroit Lions. Number 3, the Chicago Bears. Now the question is, will the Bears be picking at the top of the draft? I know they have this strong defense, but I don't think they've been adding much to it in the past recent years, right? So they had the great defense when they traded for Khalil Mack. That is now 2 seasons ago. They haven't added anything since, right? They hoped Leonard Floyd was going to be a very good player for him. He hasn't. Roquan Smith has shown some decent promise, but I'm not sure if he's really ready to step up to the plate yet. There hasn't much been added to the defense. So the defense is going to continue to go down now, whereas the offense has completely flatlined. It is dead in the water. And they just traded for Nicholas Foles. Good luck with that. Ask the Jacksonville Jaguars how it worked out when they signed Nicholas Foles to that 4-year, $88 million contract. Nick Foles is not the answer in the regular season. In the playoffs, he might be the answer for some reason I can't understand or explain. But in the regular season, absolutely not. If Nick Foles is on your team, you're going to struggle in the regular season. This is something that we've seen, except for those, I want to say really the one season in Philadelphia where he actually won games in the regular season. So, the Chicago Bears, Mitchell Trubisky, it's done. It's over, right? Unless if he can have a great year, they're moving on from him. Foles is going to start, I think, at least a couple games this year, maybe the majority of the year. And then after this year, they're going to be done and sick of both of them. And they're going to be ready to move on if they're picking the top 10, potentially moving up again. I know they just moved up from Mitchell Trubisky. Potentially moving up again, but this time they'd be getting a tried and true prospect in Trevor Lawrence as opposed to more of a project in Mitchell Trubisky, because we all knew Trubisky was more of a project and the project just hasn't worked out. Okay, so now they can get a Trevor Lawrence in there, and the Chicago Bears fans will be happy as they finally have their true franchise quarterback in the first time in ever. Okay, so that would be very good for the Chicago Bears fans. Number 2. The New England Patriots. And this is an interesting team to me. How are they going to do this upcoming season? So this is a team that, remember, had the number 1 defense last year in terms of points allowed. Okay, now what does that mean? Their offense doesn't turn over the ball often. They don't make many mistakes. Are they that talented defensively? No, they're definitely not the most talented defense in the league, but they're still a sound defense. So with that, it's going to be hard for them to end up picking top 5, but you know what? They look like a 6-10 team to me, maybe 7-9. They'll be picking around 10th, 11th, and then with the Patriots and all the picks that they still have, because they traded a lot out of this 2020 draft and got some 2021 picks. Could they, conglomerate all their picks, trade up to the number one spot and take Trevor Lawrence? Is absolutely a possibility. As Bill Belichick, of all people, should know how valuable it is to have a franchise quarterback, how it is to have an intelligent quarterback, one that you can win with. And a lot of people aren't talking about this, but I don't really know what Bill Belichick's exit strategy is when it comes to the New England Patriots. I mean, the guy is getting up there in age at this point. Let me look up his age real quick. I mean, he has to be approaching 70 if he's not there yet. Yeah, he's 68 years old. I don't think Bill Belichick has many years left, but the one thing he can do for this franchise is draft their next franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and then he'll at least have that lasting memory in New England, because I don't think he's winning another Super Bowl. But if he could draft a quarterback that would ultimately win another Super Bowl, maybe he does win that ultimate debate of who was more valuable, Belichick or Brady. So number 2 is the New England Patriots. As Jarrett Stidham, I don't think he's the answer. I didn't see much of any promise in last year's preseason or in college for him. And Brian Hoyer, okay, give me a break. And number 1 most likely team to draft Trevor Lawrence in 2021, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is not an indictment on Gardner Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew. In fact, people, he was the best rookie quarterback last year. I don't know why this is going under the radar. He was better than Kyler Murray. He was better than Daniel Jones last season, period. 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in less games than I think both of them, ultimately. Maybe Daniel Jones played the equal amount, because I think Daniel Jones played maybe 13. I know Gardner Minshew played 14. But Gardner Minshew came in last season, did very well. He started 12 games, won 6 of them, 6-6 at his record, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I like Gardner Minshew. But the problem is, they're tanking. The Jaguars are tanking. They don't care. The once heralded and vaunted Jacksonville Jaguars defense is now whittling down to absolutely nothing. Gone is Calais Campbell. Gone is Jalen Ramsey. Gone is A.J. Boye. Gone is Telvin Smith, and to the jail he goes, as he was just on the To Catch a Predator, for God's sake, damn near, with some charges of apparently having sexual activity with minors. Goodness gracious, what's going on in Jacksonville? I mean, the defense has whittled to absolutely nothing. Yannick Ngakoue wants out. Offensively, apparently they're looking to trade Leonard Fournette. It's a mess. The offensive line stinks. The wide receivers are inconsistent. It's just a mess. I don't know how Gardner Minshew is going to be able to continue to win with this roster. So when they're picking, and a lot of people think they're going to be worse in the league. I don't think so. I think the Bengals are still worse. I think the Redskins are still worse. Redskins are very close, actually. I don't know about that. Maybe the Jaguars are worse than the Redskins, but I think they're still better than the Bengals. Barely. But I think they're better than the Bengals. But they're going to be, without a doubt, picking first of the teams that need a quarterback to me right now. Now, maybe a team suffers injuries and things change, but of the teams that truly need a quarterback, quote-unquote need, because, again, I like Gardner Minshew, they're going to be picking at the top, which puts them in prime position to take Trevor Lawrence, and that's going to make Gardner Minshew a bit of a scapegoat, a guy that's going to be moved on from, which I think is very unfortunate. And I think a lot of teams should look at Gardner Minshew. I think a lot of teams should come calling for Gardner Minshew without a doubt, 100%. I think he's better than a lot of quarterbacks in this league. I think he's better than Dwayne Haskins. Right now, I think he's better than Daniel Jones. Kyler Murray is a push to me. Kyler Murray does a lot more in terms of running the ball, but I think Gardner Minshew is a much more intelligent football player at this point. So I think Gardner Minshew, you could put him over Kyler Murray at this point. It depends what Baker Mayfield does this upcoming season. He was great his rookie season, but he sucked the last season. Maybe he's better than Baker. He's definitely better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think there's a lot to like with Gardner Minshew. He may be better than Phillip Rivers at this point. There's many quarterbacks in this league who Gardner Minshew is better than right now. For some reason, the Jaguars don't care. They're ready to rebuild. And look, Trevor Lawrence, would he be better than Gardner Minshew in the NFL? Most likely, yes. In fact, I want to say most likely, yes. Okay, fine. But I think Gardner Minshew could actually be a franchise quarterback. He has some moxie, he has some poise, some accuracy, the things you want to see in a quarterback. So we'll see. They're going to trade him somewhere, and I'm interested to see what team takes the bait. But I think we're looking at a Kirk Cousins in Gardner Minshew. I think someone needs to take him on. Someone needs to give him a chance, an opportunity to really prove himself. He may struggle this upcoming year as the Jaguars tank. But next year, I really want to see Gardner Minshew go to a team. And as for Trevor Lawrence on the Jaguars, this would be the one quarterback that could really believe in since Blake Bortles, for God's sake, and that really did not work out at all. But, obviously, again, Trevor Lawrence and the things that we know about him and the things that we've seen from him in college, they would definitely have the quarterback situation solved. So with that said, those are my top 5 teams most likely to draft Trevor Lawrence in 2021. What are your top 5 teams? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.